All right, number 6, we're going to clear the fractions by multiplying by the common denominator, and it looks to be y minus 4 times y. If we look at the second term, so this 64 is divided by y squared minus 4. I'm going to write this in factor form. If we factor out of y, the y squared becomes y, and then the minus 4y just becomes minus 4. So this part looks just like this part, so the y times y minus 4 would be our common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this whole expression times y minus 4, and we'll go through and simplify. So the y times y minus 4 will cancel out here, leaving us with 16 times y, or 16y. When I multiply y minus 4 times the middle, the whole thing cancels and just leaves us with a minus 64. And then thinking about this as in the y squared minus 4y form, we're going to distribute a negative 4. So negative 4 times y squared will give me a negative 4y squared, and then negative 4 times the 4y, the second part, will give us a positive 16y. So again, we have a quadratic. I'm going to move everything to the left. Whenever you solve quadratics, especially if we're going to try to factor it, we want to make sure the leading term is positive. For some reason, I think you can get the roots right, but in the factor form there's some error with the signs whenever it starts out being negative. So we're going to add this over, and we're going to subtract the 16y. So since that's positive and positive, this 16y will pretty much cancel out. Well, actually looking at that now, we can pretty much just solve this by doing the square root. So I'm going to subtract the 16y, looking ahead, and that's going to cancel out the 16y on both sides. Bring down to negative 64 equals negative 4y squared. At this point, we can solve it by the square root method, so we'll divide by negative 4. Doing so, negative divided by negative is a positive. 64 divided by 4, 16, and it's going to equal y squared. And then from here we can take the square root of both sides. So when you take the square root of a number, you have to consider positive or negative. And so we'll get a positive or negative 4 equals y, because square root cancels out square. So we get two possible answers, positive 4 and negative 4. Now, we got to go back up here and look at solutions that would not work. So what makes the denominator 0? Y minus 4, not equal to 0. If y equals 4, we divide by 0, and that's going to be undefined. And the other term would be if y is 0, because 0 times anything is going to be 0. So we cannot use 0 and we cannot use 4. Now it just so happens that positive 4 shows up as one of the answers. So we will throw positive 4 out, leaving us with y equals negative 4 as our only solution.